I just love food-related story, don't you? They have the advantages of being both fascinating and delicious to look at. For example, feast your eyes on this magnificent beast. This gigantic dish is called bánh chưng, a quite common dish the Vietnamese would eat during the Tết holidays, and sometimes regular day too, since it's really good. However, it's not just a good dish. It's a good dish with deep historic and cultural value to the people of Vietnam. The myth of bánh chưng and bánh nhảy is more than a simple story explaining, or rather justifying, the existence of these dishes. It's also used to emphasize the importance of rice crop and nature in the wet rice civilization that started 13,000 years ago in Asia. Now, there are actually two parts to this story. The first part related to another myth called Thánh Giống Phù Đổng Thiên Vương that we'll get to eventually, but we really don't need to know what happened in that story to understand this story that I'm about to tell you. You just need to know that there was an invasion, the Vietnamese defeated them thanks to a 3-year-old kid and a prophecy from the god. So yeah.
Nothing interesting happened. I promise. Stop looking at me.
Our story began after the 6th Hùng King has defeated the invader from the north and has restored peace in his country. At that time, the king wanted to pass on his throne to one of his sons, but there was a problem. Well, actually, there was like 22 problems since he had 22 sons. Usually, this would not be a problem for a monarchy since the king could just pick the oldest sons and make him the next king. But then what if the oldest sons were not the sons of the queen but only a consort? Then we can just make the sons of the queen, despite the order of his birth, to be the next king, right? Wrong. The oldest sons of the queen could be too young, too inexperienced when compared with his more capable older half-brothers. And what if the oldest really want the throne, which usually was the case back in the day? Remember, this Hùng King has 22 sons. If a civil war broke out just because he chose the wrong successor, it was going to be one ugly sight. So the 6th Hùng King decided a clever plan to choose his next heir. He gathered all of his sons and told them, I will pass on my throne to whoever can please me with the offering to our ancestors at the end of this year, and fulfill his filial pieties. And a quick side note here, filial pieties mean love, respect, support, and deference for parents and other elders in the family, such as grandparents or older siblings. All of the princes began searching for the rarest and most delicious food by hunting, fishing, and trading. They have gathered countless wonderful and exotic food from both the forests and the seas. Only the 9th or 18th, I'm not sure, sources vary, Prince Lang Liu, who was the poorest of them all, could not find anything on his own. His mom died when he was young, and his mother family could not support him politically. Therefore, he fell far behind on this race. One day, when he was sleeping, a god in the form of an old man came to him and says, In this vast world, there is nothing more precious than rice, because rice is used to feed everybody. People can eat days in and days out without getting sick of it. Nothing can come before it. God, this is so Asian. This is how you know. This is an Asian mess. If you cook the rice, form it into a round shape to symbolize the sky and a square to symbolize the land, you'll have yourself a metaphorically great dish right there. But you also have to put in really tasty filling so that people can actually enjoy it. The meaning of this dish is to say the heaven and the earth gave birth to everything and include everything within it. Your father will be pleased by this and you will become the next king. Lang Liu was extremely happy when he woke up and quickly followed the old man's word. He used the best rice, washed it clean, and wrapped it in green leaf to form a square, and he called it bánh chưng. And he ground the sticky rice really finely and formed them into a round shape, and he called it bánh dày. Time flew by and the end of the year was near. All of the princes present their offering to their father. And I think you can imagine what the scenario was like. I guess it was something like this. One of the princes must have been like, "Oh, father, I present to you a steamed chicken with 5 color feather and a pair of chopsticks made of elephant tusks." Are you serious? Yes! And another one could have been like, "Oh, father, I give you this 1,000 years old giant sea turtle with a bow made of its own shell."
You suck!
But it's really good. No. Only Lang Liu offered a plate with only bánh chưng and bánh dày. The king got curious and asked him about it. Lang Liu then explained the dream he had and the god word to his father. The king tasted and found it to be so delicious that he declared all of the other food his other son brought today could not compare with Lang Liu's dish. The king gave Lang Liu his blessing and deemed Lang Liu as his successor. All of his other 21 sons were given small land outside the capital and lived there. Later, the family of these 3 princes began wanting to be king themselves and rule over their own land. So they would set up their own government and their own border. And that is why we have district in Vietnam today. Oh, wait. Oh, wrong conclusion. Sorry. And that is how bánh chưng and bánh dày came to be. A delicious dish that have deep roots in the Vietnamese heart. Now, when I was doing my research, I found out that this story dated back to 1631 BC, more than 100 years ago. So the fact that we are still eating the same food, albeit with modification to fit our modern taste, is truly very amazing. Although this story was written down in Lĩnh Nam Chích Quái, which is one of the oldest complications of myth and legend in Vietnam to date, it is still classified as a semi-fictional work, so we should all take it as what it is, a story and not facts. The 6th Home King probably did not choose his successor based on their cooking skills. And I just really hate to say this, but there's probably no chicken with 5 color feathers. I know, I'm sorry too. Now, I don't know whether it's normal in your country, but in my country, this is actually not the only myth relating to food. In Vietnam Archive of Tale and Legend, there are surprisingly many stories whose purpose are to explain the origin or the reason of why we eat what we eat, or rather ate. I mean, we used to eat some really strange thing, and I don't want to get into it. And personally, this is actually one of my favorite myths when I was young because it has food, it has kings, it has princess, princess as well maybe, and most importantly, food again.
Hello everybody, thank you so much for watching this videos. If you enjoyed that video, please hit like and subscribe to my channels. And if you did not, that's okay too. I still love you and I'll promise to try harder next time. Please comment on what subject you would like to see and I will make a videos about that. Thank you so much and see you again. Bye bye.